What is up everyone, Andrew here, back with another video for you. So today I wanted to talk about a phone that kind of tends to fly under people's radar in terms of performance and quality for the price that you pay. The iPhone 7 is a solid phone that despite its age still holds up well and I think still has a lot of life left in it. And I think it's definitely worth a second look. So let's talk about that. The iPhone 7 and the 7 Plus came out in 2016, which by today makes them nearly 3 years old. And when they came out, it was actually a pretty noteworthy thing because even though the design hadn't changed very much from the previous year, there was still something that I feel like a lot of people noticed was missing from the phone, and that was the headphone jack. But I feel like 3 years later, after not having any headphone jacks on iPhone since then, I feel like it's not quite as big of a deal and it's not quite as hard for people to get used to, especially if you have wireless headphones like the AirPods. Aside from that though, I feel like it's actually a really solid phone that looks great and feels great to use on a daily basis. There's actually quite a lot to talk about with this phone, so the first thing on my list is the design. Even though it's got those classic top and bottom bezels and a screen without any fancy rounded corners or anything, it's still pretty dang clean and good looking if you ask me. If you take a look at the iPhone 6s that came before it, and the iPhone 6, and the iPhone 8, the iPhone 7 is actually the same exact size in every single dimension as those phones, which isn't a bad thing because it feels really familiar and really comfortable to use. And that means that the display is actually really similar too, which isn't a bad thing either because it has good colors and it's really sharp and clear. And it has an all-aluminum body, which means that unfortunately there's no wireless charging, but at least those antenna lines aren't super noticeable anymore like they were in the iPhone 6 and the 6s. When this came out, they did announce some cool color options with this phone, and that was the jet black option that I have here, a solid black, and a product red color. Something that does feel incredibly different from the iPhones that came before it though is the home button. And that actually is not a part that moves on the phone, but when you press it, it gives you a vibration to make it feel like you're clicking on something, and that's supposedly to help out with the next thing on my list, which is the water resistance. And this is actually the first iPhone that comes with water resistance, which means if you get caught in the rain or you drop it in a puddle or something, it's going to be okay, so that's a reassuring peace of mind to have. And speaking of things that are different from what came before, the iPhone 7 actually came with some upgraded cameras, which is awesome. The back camera is going to give you a 12 megapixel sensor, which means that you're going to get some really sharp photos, really good contrast in there, and you're going to be able to shoot some ultra high resolution 4K video, which is cool too. Something that's notable about the back camera is that it has optical image stabilization, which is basically this thing that allows the camera to move inside the body of the phone in order to compensate for any movement that you have if your hand shakes when you're taking a video or a photo, in order to smooth out that video or photo and make it look clearer. And the front-facing camera on this phone is actually pretty respectable. It's got a 7 megapixel sensor, which means that the selfie game is going to be pretty strong, which is good, and you're going to be able to shoot some nice video on that too. Another thing that I wanted to talk about with this phone is the performance, which is arguably even better than some of the Android phones that are coming out these days. Don't at me. But that's all thanks to the A10 Fusion chip, which is basically the phone's brain. And that allows it to keep up with all the tasks that people would throw at it on a daily basis. And I noticed that this phone didn't have any trouble keeping up with the things that I threw at it, and it didn't really have to reload super often, and it didn't really stutter at all, which is really cool. And I'd say that's all partly because the iPhone 7 can run iOS 12, which is the latest software from Apple, and that helps it to run more efficiently and smoothly. Something else that helps older phones run more smoothly is actually the battery inside them. And the condition of the battery and the age of it is actually something that can really negatively affect the performance of the phone. So it's good to check that battery life setting in your settings app once in a while, just to make sure that it's close to 100% of the original capacity. And luckily this iPhone's battery is in good condition and it's been getting great battery life and performance from it. And those are two main things that you could ask for from that. Overall, this is actually a really solid phone that just looks good and it still has a lot of life left in it, which is awesome. And that all sounds fine and dandy, but before I can actually recommend it and say if you should go out and buy one in 2019, we should go over the price of this phone. Apple still sells the iPhone 7 on their website and in their stores for $449 as new, which is kind of cool. But that's for 32 gigabytes, which I feel like is not quite a lot for 2019 for what you need for your photos and everything, especially for what I have. I have like 30 gigabytes of photos alone. So I kind of recommend looking into Amazon or other solutions like eBay because I got this 32 gigabyte iPhone 7 for $199 off of eBay. And it's actually worked really well over the course of the past few months that I've had it, which is awesome. So with all this information in mind, and with the hope of some better deals online, is the iPhone 7 worth it in 2019? I'd say yes. If you're on a budget or if you're just looking for a great phone, this could be the one for you. Alright, that about wraps it up. I really appreciate you watching. Hopefully this helped somebody out there. If it did, let me know down in the comments. That'd be awesome. Another thing you can let me know down in the comments is if I did a bad job or if there's anything that I can do better. That'd be awesome. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and maybe subscribe. That'd be really cool. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good day. Peace. Yeah.